Hello everyone, Michael Voris here to tell you the download is back. I'll be on regularly with Christine Niles and Simon Rafe and a fourth special guest host from the CM crew. We're going to have in-depth discussions on the big news of the day and, of course, indispensable analysis from a Catholic perspective. So don't miss the download premiering on YouTube at 5 p.m. Eastern every weekday. God love you.
The Snakes return to Ireland, this time in a suit. Join us from across the pond, our All Things Europe, Dr. Jules Gomez. Jules, looks like our fake Catholic, pro-abort, pro-LGBT, and pro-war Joe Biden not only defiles the communion rail, but is now defiling Ireland's holiest shrine as well?
Brad, faithful Catholics in Ireland are incandescent that Knock Shrine is rolling out the red carpet for this warmonger, this president who has the blood of innocent babies on his hands.
Well, now many people are quite aware of his radical pro-abort agenda, and many people even know about the radical transgender agenda that he has. But now his pro-war agenda is looming front and center. Can you tell us about that?
Well, Catholic Arena, a traditionalist blog from Ireland, has highlighted this, Brad, because we talk, as you rightly said, about his pro-abortion and pro-LGBT agenda, but Catholic Arena is telling us how, because of his pro-war policies, 80% of Christians fled Iraq. He virtually devastated the Christian community in Iraq, and now, of course, he's pumping billions into Ukraine to continue to pour fuel, petrol on the fire in between Russia and Ukraine.
Now, with regard to Biden, we know that he defiles the communion rail, but he's also defiling perhaps the holiest shrine in Ireland as well.
Absolutely. Tomorrow, Knock Shrine is hosting him. And the rector, Father Richard Gibbons, has put out a statement saying that he's delighted to welcome President Biden, and it's a huge honor to welcome him. Guess why? Because of Biden's commitment to the faith. This is what Father Richard Gibbons is telling us, and that has outraged Catholics to such an extent that they have gone on a rampage commenting against this cathedral, against Knock Shrine's policy on their Facebook page, on the Shrine's Facebook page. And as of this morning, Knock Shrine had to shut down comments because it was just getting inundated with the outrage from Catholics.
How can a rector say that Biden's commitment to the faith is a wonderful thing? I mean, he completely rejects the church's teaching on abortion, completely rejects the church's teaching on LGBT, completely rejects the church's teaching on just war. What shred of Catholic faith is he actually upholding?
Well, my sources in Ireland tell me that Father Gibbons is as inconsistent, their words, as many of the Catholic hierarchs in Ireland, including the bishops.
Now, what are the bishops saying, Jules?
Well, it's very interesting you asked that question, because Biden is going to address a congregation at St. Mirida's Cathedral in Ballina, and that is the episcopal see of Bishop John Fleming, who created huge controversy a few years ago because he supported the pro-abortion policies of a Catholic pregnancy crisis agency called Cura, and he even misquoted then Cardinal Ratzinger for Benedict the 16th former words, or words when he was Cardinal Ratzinger, basically saying that it is okay to vote for a pro-abortion candidate in the United States presidential elections, as long as you're not voting for him because he is pro-abortion.
Well,
It's incredible.
The common people in Ireland now are in the tank for same-sex marriage, of course, and abortion, but the scandal of allowing Biden to address the congregation, in your estimation, Jules, speaking about scandal, how responsible do you believe, being in Rome based, is Pope Francis really for causing scandal with regard to Biden's current rise in power and popularity and not shutting down the Catholic vote, all of that?
Well, in fact, it was Pope Francis, wasn't it? He rolled out the red carpet for Biden in 2021. And Biden came with his massive gas-guzzling motorcade. I was there. And he gave him a 90-minute audience at the Vatican. And Biden emerged from that meeting telling us that Pope Francis had called him a good Catholic and told him to continue to receive Holy Communion. And the Vatican did not rebut or reject those statements from Joe Biden.
Wow, Jules, really? I mean, okay, so let's shift gears for a minute now. There's also some breaking news in the case of a celebrity serial abuser who is also a close friend of Pope Francis.
Absolutely. We're talking about Father Marco Ivan Rucknick, the Jesuit mosaic artist who's been accused of molesting, raping, sexually abusing over 25 religious sisters. And there's been a long-going controversy about what is going to happen to him. Finally, we are told that his Slovenian provincial, Father Miran Zvanuth, who incidentally was dismissing reports that Church Militant and others had written about Rucknick some months ago as fabricated and over the top. Zvanuth has now decided to send Rucknick into permanent exile in a home for retired clergy in Milan, in Italy.
Well, I mean, it takes how many nuns to come forward and how much publicity. I mean, you've been reporting on this literally for months, groundbreaking stuff here that's day after, or week after week anyway about Rucknick. And finally, they make some shift like that. What do you know also about Rucknick's Atletic Center?
There is an investigation being launched into his Atletic Center by the Diocese of Rome because many people believe that this had turned into a kind of cult. It's dominated by Slovenian religious sisters and Slovenian Jesuits. All of them have been covering for Rucknick. And, it deals in millions of euros. And he continues to live there. Rucknick continues to live there. It was there that he committed many of his sexual atrocities. But nobody seems to be, all this while, nobody has questioned what is going on. Now, we don't know what's going to come off the Rome Diocese's investigation, but let's wait and, hope that something positive will be done about the Atletic Center.
And you're saying it's the Rome Diocese, not the Vatican itself, that's investigating Rucknick?
Precisely. It is the Diocese of Rome under Cardinal Angelo Donatis.
Now, what does all this say, the Vatican dragging its feet for months and months, about the zero tolerance that Pope Francis is so glib to put out there?
Well, zero tolerance is a joke, Brad, and no wonder Father Hans Zollner, a Jesuit, one of the top guys on expert in sexual abuse, clerical sex abuse, resigned a couple of weeks ago from Pope Francis's commission on clerical sex abuse. But he's not the only person to do so. A number of people, internationally renowned figures, including people from Ireland and England, have stepped down in the last few years. basically saying that this isn't working.
Right. Hans Zoller's kind of, he was out there with regard to exactly why, like you said, the system is not working. Well, Jules, while Pope Francis seems to be protecting not only snakes in Ireland, he's also protecting predators in Rome. But, you know, going back to the Biden, the one thing really I think Biden should have done while in Ireland, above all else, was just simply kiss the Blarney Stone. So thanks you very much for coming on, Jules, and shedding light on these stories.
Thank you, Brad.